It's a known fact that Australians love their beer, with over 74.6 million litres of pure alcohol in beer being consumed over the last year. As Australia's most popular alcoholic beverage, it's important that beer production runs smoothly, so you might be wondering just how breweries keep up with this high demand.
We're here at Soapbox Brewery in Fortitude Valley today with the head brewer Greg. Thanks for inviting us down. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on how Soapbox Brewery came to be what it is today?
No worries, yeah. So the brewery itself was conceived quite a few years ago by two of the owners who met each other actually at primary school that their kids were going to. And they found out that they both like beer, both like wine, both, I guess, wanted to do something, with beer in a brewery sort of way, I suppose. It helped them with some of the technical part of what was needed to bring the venture together. So about 3 years ago we started in earnest on this project, and about 2 years ago we actually opened the brewery itself.
Can you give us a bit of a rundown on the brewing process here at Soapbox?
Sure. So being a craft brewery, we use a lot of natural ingredients and natural processes, which means that we buy raw ingredients, which are essentially malted barley and wheat on the whole, fresh hops, and also brewing yeast, which actually comes ready to use in beer making as well. So they're three of the major ingredients. Fourth one being water, so we just use good old Brisbane town water for that, which is not too bad actually to make beer from. You don't necessarily want really pure water because it lacks some of the flavours that are actually desirable in beer. So we take those four ingredients, we mill the malt and then put it into the mash tun, as we saw earlier, mix it with the warm water and some salt and pepper, some, what do we say?
Secret herbs and spices. Yep.
That's right, to make a mash. That mash helps extract the sugar that we need to make alcohol with from the grains. So then we drain off that sugary liquid after about an hour or so into the brew kettle. And in the brew kettle we add hops to give beer its bitterness and also to give it some of its flavours and aromas. And we boil that mixture as well for an hour to make sure that it's sterile and to drop out some of the other things in the malty cordial. So there's some components in that we don't really want in the final beer, and boiling helps get rid of those as well. The step after that is then to take that poured liquid, which is called wort, cool it down and put it into a fermenting tank, which is essentially a big steel tank like the ones you see behind us here.
Yep.
And then we add oxygen and yeast, and the yeast then get together on those sugars and start fermenting, and that is the process of converting sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So the beer bubbles away for about a week whilst the yeast is fermenting, and eventually the yeast have consumed all the sugars that they can and the fermenting stops, and that's pretty much the end of the alcohol production step. And from there it's just a matter of chilling the beer down, putting in some carbonation, sometimes clearing the beer up a little bit with some settling of the solid particles, sometimes a little bit of filtering, and then it's ready to put into cans and kegs.
How many different types of beer do you make here at Soapbox?
We make about 5 different regular styles that we try to keep in stock all the time. And then we make quite a few specialty beers which change depending on the season, or sometimes special events, or sometimes just because we want to make something that we're interested in or want to drink ourselves.
Yeah.
So we've made nearly 100 batches of beer in the 2 years that we've been open, and of those I'd say about half of them are the core range of beers that we always try to keep in stock, and the other half are pretty much one-off brews that we've made for all those other reasons. Some of those specialty brews, if they work really well, might make it one day to being brewed again, and eventually might even make it into something that we brew more regularly.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at how beer is made here at Soapbox Brewery. Now you know just how much work goes into one little can like this. Cheers!